What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, and in this video, we're going to be checking out the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. Now, this device is one of the latest budget options from Samsung, and I know that not too many people are looking to spend too much money on a smartphone, so if you are looking for a phone that's not too expensive, then this might be an option worth considering. Now, as the name of the phone does imply, the Galaxy A27 5G is the successor to last year's Galaxy A26 5G. Now, stay tuned for an upcoming video, as I will be comparing this phone to that phone, but overall, there aren't too many changes, and it's more of an evolution rather than a complete redesign. Now, I'm going to be real with you though, even though the A27 5G is meant to be a budget smartphone, this device is actually pretty expensive for what you're getting. So this phone does have an MSRP of $349, which I feel like is definitely a lot of money, and at that point, you have to consider whether you should just go for a slightly older flagship smartphone or even a mid-ranger, and you're probably going to be getting a better device for the money compared to this. That said though, I'm sure as time goes on, this phone will be available at more and more carriers, and typically the carriers do tend to bundle these devices up with some pretty nice discounts. So it definitely might make sense to go for this phone, but I'm just saying that it's not like it's that inexpensive if you do actually pay the full price for it. Now, this device is available in many regions around the world, but if you are buying it in the US, it is going to be coming with 128 gigabytes of storage along with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, while there aren't many things that are new compared to the previous generation, one change we did get is that we are getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera instead of it being a notch. Now, with this device, we are getting a Super AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate. This is a 1080p display, and it does feature Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, making it pretty durable overall, and especially for a budget smartphone. Now, this phone is made of plastic on the sides, but what is surprising though is that we're also getting Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the back of the phone. So I know I was kind of complaining at the beginning about the cost of this phone, but at least it does have a high quality build. So certainly if you want to buy a phone that's a budget device but is going to last you for at least a decent amount of time, then I do think overall the A27 5G is going to be a reliable smartphone. What's also nice about this device too is that we're actually getting quite a few software updates from Samsung into the future. They're actually pledging 6 years of major Android software updates, so if you do plan on keeping this phone into the long term, then at least know that starting from Android 16, you are going to be getting many more updates. But back to the display, this phone does feature a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, so a narrow but tall form factor. We are getting a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, and overall, all these bezels are actually pretty big. But with this phone, we are getting a PPI of 385, and the device itself is 7.8 millimeters thick. So, not the thickest phone ever, but certainly it's not a phone that you're gonna take somewhere and impress people. But in general, I'm glad they went with Super AMOLED for this display. Typically, Samsung's budget smartphones tend to have actually very good displays, and this one definitely has really bright and vibrant colors, and certainly good viewing angles as well. So this is definitely a good option if you're going on social media, you're watching video content, at least you can actually look at this display and have a good experience. Now, like I mentioned, with this device, we're getting 128 gigabytes, but we're also getting microSD card expansion, which is something that we're starting to see less and less. And as far as that internal storage goes, we are getting UFS 3.1 storage, so not the fastest storage out there ever, but also not the cheapest or slowest. There are types of storage that do come with budget smartphones that are slower than we're actually getting here. Now, taking a look at the camera module on the device, we are getting the typical Samsung 3-camera kind of bean pod setup here, but it is a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. And then this phone does support 4K video with the rear camera, and then 1080p up front. And speaking of that front-facing camera, it is 12 megapixels. But let's go over to the camera app here on the device and take a look. So you can see here, this is how things look. Now by default, it is going to take you over to 12 megapixels, but if you tap there, it does switch it over to 50M, and then now you're getting that full experience of using that 50 megapixel camera. So definitely when you switch over to that, the photos are going to look a lot clearer, a lot crisper. They are going to take up more space on your device though, so keep that in mind. But overall, I'm actually pretty impressed with the camera quality. Now heading back over to the ultra wide camera, I'll show you how that looks. You can go over to 0.5 and go to that ultra wide camera. So it's not gimmicky, it does get the job done. Of course, it's not as high end as a flagship smartphone, but for what it is totally fine. Now over here in the More tab, you can see all our various options that are available. but one of them is macro. And then with macro, you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. However, in general, let's go back over to that photo I took at 50 megapixels. I feel like taking a 50 megapixel photo and then zooming in is going to get you better results compared to the dedicated macro camera. So overall, the macro camera on this device is actually pretty pointless. Now, powering this phone is actually a Snapdragon processor, which is pretty surprising. It is the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3, so certainly don't expect anything too impressive, but the phone does run smoothly, so I at least appreciate that. Now, I did do a benchmark test with Geekbench 6, and I'll show you the scores in that test right now. So you can see, these are not terrible scores for an affordable smartphone, but they're not high-end scores either. So I would run this test on your current phone and then compare these scores to the phone you have right now to really see if whether or not the A27 5G is actually going to be an upgrade for you. And then with this device, we're getting a 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery along with 25 watt fast charging. So 25 watts is actually pretty fast for a budget phone, so I am at least glad that we're getting that. And then having that really large 5,000 milliamp hour battery is certainly very nice as well. So at least you can quickly recharge this device and have a big enough battery to easily get you through a day. Now on the right side here, we've got the fingerprint sensor as well as volume up and down. Let's try out that fingerprint sensor right now. And you can see it definitely works. It gets the job done. I would have preferred an in-display fingerprint sensor, but for a phone in this segment, that's not really a feature that you'd expect to find. Now on the left side of the device, we've got the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. On the bottom of the phone, we've got the microphone. We have the USB-C port, which is USB 2.0, so no video out, unfortunately. And then we have the speaker. So remember, with the A27 5G, there's no stereo audio, just audio out of that main speaker itself. And then on the back of the device, we've got Samsung branding. We've got the glass on the back of the phone, which is reflective. And overall, I'm not a big fan of this. It just picks up a lot of fingerprints and overall just isn't really my vibe. But we've got the camera module, flash, and that's pretty much it. Now, I'm sure many people will probably be putting a case on this phone anyway, so in general, the material on the back of the phone doesn't matter a whole lot. But I'm definitely curious to know what you think about the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G. And certainly, if you're not looking to spend too much money, then you might want to go for this phone. But let me know what you think. This is Kevin here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.